I will never, ever buy another one of this author's works. Today I'm going to be running through the Booktube newbie tag. Now obviously I'm not a total newbie, but I am still a bit of a noob. Question 1 is, why did you start this channel? And the obvious answer to this is to talk about books. There are a few people in my life I can talk about books to. However, there's only so much talking about books they can take before they murder me. And so I have turned to the internet, a place with billions of people, and a few of them hopefully want to hear me yapping about books. So here I am to yap about them. And there are also a few channels that really inspired me to get started, but I will go into that on later questions. What are some fun and unique things I can bring to Booktube? Now, firstly, I've got my wonderful good looks, but aside from that, I've got a real sci-fi and fantasy focus, and I'm hoping to run this channel in a more fun way than a lot of channels. There are a lot of old men here on Booktube who sit and just talk about books in a very boring way. I'm hoping to bring some really weird and exciting stuff, but no spoilers on what that will be yet. What am I most excited about? Well, for me, this has got to be growing and reaching a point where I can talk more to authors and to other booktubers. I am a teeny tiny channel right now, but I'm hoping that by the end of the year, fingers crossed and with your help, I can get up to 1k subscribers. And then I want to start reaching out to other booktube channels and to authors to try and get myself some interviews, some collaborators, and just yap even more about books than I can by myself standing in a room like a crazy person. So that will be really exciting. Now, I do have a podcast planned with a certain Ink and Tome. I will link his channel down below. So I'm excited to talk about books with him too, but more collaborations, more author talks is something I'm really excited to get into, and a few challenges as well that I think will be interesting planned for the future. Why do you love reading? This is a question I get asked quite a lot because I read a lot of books and have no other hobbies. For me, I think it's the escapism. That's why I love fantasy and sci-fi in particular. A lot of genres restrict you to this world, but sci-fi and fantasy allowed you to explore whatever concepts you'd want. And I think that's a really, really beautiful thing. I've lived so many different lives just through the books I've read. Another thing I adore about reading is its ability to give you perspectives from different people. I've obviously only ever lived my life, and as a white man, I'm very privileged. So being able to try and get even a vague idea of what other people go through allows me to empathize with other groups of people and other individuals, whether they're going through a significant personal experience, whether they have a certain identity or characteristic that means that they experience the world in a different way from me. Books are a way of me being able to understand the perspectives of other people, and I think that's a really, really wonderful thing, and why I try to promote reading diversely and to read diversely myself. What book or series got me into reading? Now, there is a certain series I have to talk about here, but I want to do it in the right way because I am aware that I have a diverse audience and I don't want to isolate any of them with my opinions. That said, I do think that politics and reading go hand in hand, and so I'm not going to avoid talking about politics on this channel. Now, in case you have not guessed yet, the series I am talking about is, of course, Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. I want to do a full video on this, so we're going to go very briefly through it, and I urge you, even if you disagree, to stay watching and to at least listen to what I have to say. In the last 10 years, the United Kingdom has fallen from first for LGBT rights in Europe all the way down to 22nd. It is ranked second last in Western Europe aside from Italy, and J.K. Rowling genuinely played a big part in this. Last year, she funded a legal case which was taken to the Supreme Court and led to the erosion of transgender rights in the United Kingdom. This single Supreme Court judgment led to a fall of 7 positions for the United Kingdom, and it is now ranked 45th out of 49 countries for trans rights. Funding this woman directly leads to her being able to fund court cases like this, which in turn lead to the erosion of trans rights in the United Kingdom. As a member of the LGBT community in the United Kingdom with trans friends living in the United Kingdom, I will never, ever buy another one of this author's works. Frankly, this is something that is important to me and I will harp on about it on this channel. I have re-recorded this video to ensure that I'm coming across in the right way because passion overtook me upon my first recording. If you don't want politics in your booktube, then genuinely just unsubscribe. But if you're happy to listen to perspectives that may disagree from yours, please keep watching and I will continue to talk about these issues that are important to me and to the world. On a slightly lighter note, we'll try and bring the tone back from that, but I thought it was important to talk about. Mistborn is the other book that got me into reading. I had a weird gap in my teenage years that I think a lot of people do, and suddenly came back into reading during COVID when I was 17. So Mistborn catapulted me back into reading, and I am forever grateful to Sanderson for writing those works, and I think they're a brilliant place to start if you're looking to get into the fantasy genre or back into reading. The next question is, what would you ask your favorite booktubers? Now, this is a slightly weird one because I actually know a lot of my favorite booktubers. If you'd asked me this a few years ago, it would have been people like Daniel Green, Murphy Napier, Elliot Brooks, and Petra Cleo, the real mainstream of the booktube space. But at the moment, it's actually more Hathaway Ever After, it's Books, Beverages and Besties, it's Loud Library. These are smaller channels and I know the creators, so I can ask them any question. But if I have to pick one question to ask them right now, I would pick Tabatha from Books, Beverages and Besties, and I would ask her why she hasn't finished Arcane yet. If you're watching this, finish Arcane. What challenges do I think are going to be hardest to overcome with starting a booktube channel? I think for me, it's going to be getting used to talking to this lens that is just kind of glaring down at me and trying to come across as naturally as possible. I want to be really authentic on this channel and to be myself, but I find it really weird talking to a wall. So I think that's something I'm going to have to just get used to. And hopefully as I go on, I'll get more natural, I'll get funnier and cooler, and yeah, not have awkward pauses like that one right there. Question A is, when did you start reading? And I think this was as a child, pretty young. I think I was kind of 3 or 4. I don't know when kids start to read. Anyway, I've been reading my whole life. My parents really encouraged me to read as a child, and ironically, as an adult, I am constantly encouraging them to read. Not that they don't read, but they don't read at the pace I want them to, and I have lots of books I need them to get to, so I am constantly badgering them to read. So it's nice to have the tables slightly turned in that regard. Where do I read? Everywhere. I am a massive advocate of audiobooks, and I am listening to them in the gym, on my way to work, while I'm cooking, while I'm cleaning, I don't really do anything else, but that is when I am reading. And I also love, of course, ebooks, physical books, a little eyeball read. Mostly that happens in my bed. What kind of books do I like to read? I'm hoping this one's become clear by now. But it's sci-fi and it's fantasy, and increasingly I'm looking at non-Western fantasy series. I just think that they provide a really fresh and exciting perspective. Obviously, I love the medieval European setting as much as the next fantasy fan, but when you read 100 fantasy books a year, it does get a little tiresome as a setting. And there are so many other settings that you can set things in. I mean, we have no real restrictions on what you do. So why authors constantly feel the need to set things in a Western European setting, I will never understand. But, I mean, it's a good setting. But I'm just looking at loads of other settings at the moment. But sci-fi and fantasy, any sci-fi and fantasy, I will read it. So those are the 10 questions for the Booktube newbie tag. Probably the most political Booktube newbie tag on Booktube. If you have any other questions for me, do shoot them down below in the comments. I'm really excited to continue this journey with you guys.